Alright, time for the evaluating functions number 1 solutions video. So what you need to do is it gives you a function assignment, and then it tells you to get a function value at a specific x value. So when you see something in the parentheses, that's the x value you need to put in for the x's in all of your functions, okay? You just put that in, compute, and you're good to go. So let's go to this first one. You're going to put -3 where that x is, so 3 times -3. And then minus 5. Well, 3 times 93 is -9. Minus the 5 is going to give me -14. Well, that's what f of -3 is. And that's it, okay? You're not trying to solve for f. This -3 just stays there. This is like an entire piece. You can't, don't split it up, don't even try. Because you can't. That's not what the notation means. It's not f times -3, it's f of -3. That brings us to the next one. You need to put in 4 in for the x, so we get -2 times 4 squared plus 6. Remember to do the square part first. So we're going to have -2 times 16 plus 6. Well, -2 times 16 is -32. Add 6, you're looking at -26. And that's going to be what g of 4 is equal to. Going on to the next one. -2 is going to go in where the x is in my function. So I'm going to get a of -2 equals 2 to the -2 plus 2 power. Well, -2 plus 2 is just 0, so you got 2 to the 0 power, which is just 1. So a of -2 is 1. And moving on to the next one, we need to plug in 8. So we're going to have h of 8 equals 1/2 times 8, where the x is, and we got a -8. Well, 1/2 of 8 is 4, and 4 minus 8 is just -4, so we got h of 8 equals -4. Moving on to the next set, you got to take this -1, plug it in where you see all the x's, and so w of -1 is going to equal 4 times -1 squared minus 3 times -1. Well, -1 squared is just 1, and you got 4 times that, so that part right there, that term is just going to be 4. -3 minus 1, -3 times -1 is going to be +3, so we're going to have 4 plus 3, which is going to be 7. So w of -1 is going to be 7. Moving on to 6, this 2 goes in where the x's are. So we're going to have f of 2 equals 2 to the 3rd power minus 6 times 2 plus 3. Well, 2 to the 3rd power is going to be 8. 6 times 2 is 12. So we're going to do 8 minus 12 and then plus 3. 8 minus 12 is -4, plus 3 is going to be -1. And that's what f of 2 is. Moving on to the next one, still that 6 is going to go right there where the x is. Don't let the fraction scare you out of trying to work this one out. So you need to do g of 6 is going to equal -3, and you times it by the 6, and then add 4 on the end. Divide that all by 2. Well, 3 times -6. -3 times 6 is -18. Add 4, you're going to get -14. And on bottom is 2. -14 divided by 2 is -7. So g of 6 is going to be -7. That one's good to go. And then on this next one, that 10 is going to go where the x is. So a of 10 is going to equal -5 times 10 minus 7. Well, do the 10 minus 7 first. That's 3. And you got -5 times 3, which is -15. So a of 10 is -15. And that brings us to the next section here. You just got to put a 3 where the x is. So you're going to have h of 3 equals 3 to the 3rd power minus 4. Well, 3 to the 3rd power is 27. Still got to subtract the 4. It's going to give us 23. So h of 3 is 23. Moving on to 10, we had to, you got to plug in that 0 there. So 0 goes where the x's are. And so w of 0 is going to equal 3 times 0 squared minus 5 times 0 to the 6th power minus 12. Well, 0 squared is 0, and 3 times 0 is 0. 0 to the 6th power is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. So you got 0 minus 0 minus 0 minus 12, which is just going to be negative 12. And that's W of 0. Going on to 11, we got to take 5 and plug it in for our x value there. So f of 5 is going to be equal to 2 times 4 to the 5 minus 4 power plus 2. Well, 5 minus 4 is just 1. 4 to the first power is going to be 4. And you got 2 times 4, so that's going to give me 8 plus 2, which is just going to be 10. So my function, f of 5, is going to equal 10. Moving on to the next part, we have a negative 1 in the parentheses, so we need to take negative 1, put it where those x's are. So f of negative 1 is going to equal negative 3 times negative 1 squared minus 5 times negative 1, and then subtract 1 on the end. Negative 1 squared is positive 1, so negative 3 times positive 1 is going to give me negative 3. Negative 5 times negative 1 is going to be positive 5, so we're going to add 5, and then we got the subtract 1 on the end still. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2, minus 1 is going to be 1. So f of negative 1 is going to be 1. Moving on to the next part, and these are just our last ones. You got to put 6 in where the x is, and so a of negative 6 is going to equal negative 9 plus 3 times negative 6. Well, 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Negative 9 plus negative 18 is negative 27. So that's a of negative 6. And on the next part, you got to take 4 and put it where the x is. So we're going to have h of 4. That's going to equal 1/3 of 3 to the 4 minus 1 power. And then on the end, subtract 6. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 to the 3rd power is going to be 27. So it's 1 times 27 minus 6. 1/3 of 27 is 9. So we got 9 minus 6, which is going to be 3. So h of 4 is going to be 3. Moving on to the next part, we got to plug in negative 2. So we got w of negative 2 is going to equal 5 times negative 2 minus 6. And then plus 9 on the end. That piece right there is negative 8 times the 5 is going to give me negative 40. I have to add the 9, so it's going to give me negative 31. It's going to be w of negative 2. So that one's there, good to go. Now we need to get g of 3. You got to put 3 where all the x's are. So you got to do negative 4 times 3 to the 3rd power minus 2 times 3 plus 2 on the end. Well, 3 to the 3rd power is 27. You have to times that by negative 4, which will come out to be negative 108. 2 times 3 is 6, so we got to subtract 6 there, and then add 2. Well, if you take negative 108 and you minus 6, you'll get negative 114, and if you add 2, you're going to get negative 112, and that's going to be g of 3. And then on our last 2 here, you're going to take 2, plug it in where the x is, so we're going to get f of 2 equals 16 times 2 to the negative 2nd power minus 1. Well, 2 to the negative 2nd power is 1/4, and 1/4 of 16 is going to be 4. You got to subtract 1, so g of 2 is 3. I mean, not g of 2, f of 2 is going to be 3. And then our last one, we got to plug in negative 6, and you just put that right in there. A of negative 6 is going to equal 7 minus 3 times negative 6 plus 6. Well, negative 6 plus 6 is 0. 3 times that is 0, so you just get 7. So a of negative 6 is 7. And that one is good to go. There you go.